Good morning. I want to wish you a beautiful summer and a very happy 4th of July. First of all, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the brilliant month that last month was when our Denver Nuggets won the championship. It just goes to show you that even though you might think things in your life might never, ever happen, I never thought I would see this day. Alas, lo and behold, the Nuggets won the ship, had a parade. It's beautiful. We have to know if they can do it. Whatever you're trying to do in your life, you could do too. But what I wanted to focus on for this month's video was actually that every time of year, there's something different from a Jewish perspective that we can work on. For example, as Rosh Hashanah comes up, we think about renewal. When Yom Kippur comes, we think about working to improve ourselves, to achieve forgiveness, to apologize to the people we've wronged. During Hanukkah time, we think about miracles, we think about gratitude, things we're grateful for in our lives. Come Passover, we think about redemption and freeing ourselves from the shackles that bind us to overcome the things that constrict us. What do we work on now in the summer? What's going on right now? So it happens to be, in a couple of weeks from now, we begin this period of time called the 3 weeks. These 3 weeks of mourning, which spells the beginning of the end of the temple, starting with the 17th of Tammuz. This is here in a couple of weeks. It's a fast day. And for a period of 3 weeks, we observe certain levels of mourning, of avelus in Hebrew. So we have certain traditions that we don't go to concerts, we don't cut our hair, shave, different kinds of laws and restrictions that we don't do to observe the loss and the pain that our people have felt throughout the millennia that stemmed out of this. This 3-week period culminates with a day called Tisha B'av, on which it's a fast day. It's actually a 25-hour fast day, a very long one, where we don't sit on chairs and all kinds of things we don't do. We don't wash our hands. We observe the similar restrictions that we do on Yom Kippur. We are allowed to drive places and whatnot, but as far as the levels of mourning that we observe, we don't bathe, anoint ourselves, etc. So why is this all so? Why is it that we mourn? What are we mourning for? What happened here? And ultimately, we assume that everything negative that ultimately occurred in our history stemmed out of this destruction, the destruction of the temple. We're sent into exile where we've been subject to whatever happened to us throughout the millennia. It's been a very painful and difficult time. And our rabbis explain that the reason we've been sent into this exile was because, at least for the second destruction of the temple, was because of sinas chinam, which is baseless hatred. People couldn't get along with each other. And the rabbis compare the sin of baseless hatred to the 3 sins that ultimately led to the destruction of the first temple. It's considered to be very severe. That people just, maybe they disagree with someone else, they don't appreciate how they live their life, how they do things, they have different perspectives from them, and therefore they hate them. And because of that, we don't have a temple, and everything negative that's happened to us in our history ultimately stems from that. So I think when we reflect upon what we can work on now in the summer, what's our avoda? What can we do as people, as Jews, to improve our own lives, the lives of our community, the lives of our nation? I think it's really time to work on loving each other, to work on respecting each other. We live, unfortunately, in a world where there's not a whole lot of that. We live in a world where if people disagree about something political, they often cannot dialogue, they can't be friends anymore. And there's that strife and that division that haunts us until today. So I think that maybe in this month ahead, as we approach these 3 weeks, as we approach Tisha B'av, it might be an opportune time to really work on respecting each other, trying to understand one another, even if we disagree, and that's fine to disagree, but try to understand another person's perspective instead of just casting them off because they disagree with us and they don't see the world the same way that we do. Hopefully through this intense love that we can have for each other, we can bond together, and we can, instead of the destruction of the temple that we're mourning, we can celebrate the ultimate rebuilding of the temple speedily in our day. Have a beautiful, beautiful day and a great month ahead.